My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa. As I say, dick.
So welcome to episode 85 of the Your Legions podcast. And this week we have the first in our interviews for the Road to Legions Con, which is a little bit shorter this year. We're starting it a little bit later on purpose. For our own sanity, and we also decided to try and we did a lot of shows last year with crossing over with other shows and stuff like this. This year we're going to focus on actual people at the con and not and people, if they have the other shows, they can do their thing on their shows, and we can do crossovers with them out of Legions Con season maybe. So first up we have our main man, the leader of the First Alliance, Kings Under the Mountain, Anton of the Forge. It's Anthony Houseal. How are you, Anthony?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good.
And Mal, we got no Rich this week. Mal, it's just you.
We haven't. I heard his teeth chattering when we mentioned Anthony was going to be on, and then I don't know, he's just not showed up.
There may have been a picture that was submitted in our little chat group that may have just reawoken some old fears.
Yeah, I should have actually brought that picture on for the screen. Maybe I'll pop it up on the screen in the edit. But yeah, there's a dwarf loving man with the sword, and Rich somewhere in the background. Whether he's in this photo or not, we're not sure, but he was definitely in the vicinity.
We know he was in the room.
Yeah, he got the stink eye later with the sword. So
yeah.
So Anthony, how are you all prepared for Legions Con? Are you ready to go?
If you would have asked me before RetroCon, I would have said yes. I was surprised and very happy with the support from the community that came out to the RetroCon show just a few weeks ago. So now I've really taken it a point to not get worked up, anxious, anything like that towards the show this year. But I won't lie, I feel a little jittery, needing to get caught back up on some stuff. I thought I was further ahead in things, so I taken on some subcontracting work, some farm work for some guys to get some things squared away. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this one's done, this one's done, this one's done. Now I'm going, all right, now I need to hurry up and get these guys done, because now I need to kind of jump back in and get some more stuff ready to go for the show. I need to finish up a few more customs and things like that. So I'm not panicking, but I'm definitely going, oh, it's getting a little closer than I thought. So we're okay this year.
And how did RetroCon go? I guess it was quite good.
RetroCon was awesome. We had the Mid-Atlantic meetup, the MAMU, or a lot of people have now since called it JesseCon on the Sunday. Yeah. So we had the Purple Gang up. We had Wolf King Customs. We had Pat Boyle. We had Nate Armstrong. We had Hedgehog Action. We had Joe Vasapolo, or Vasapolio, as they now are calling him in the gang group. We had who else did we have? We had Gaisagwe Echevarria there as well.
I'm glad you said that.
We had Dub there. It was a whole lot of people. I'm going to forget names, so I'll just leave it at that. But we had a huge turnout. Great support for all the tables that were there. Some paint sessions by Pat Boyle. Some part swaps. People were able to bring stuff and swap things around. So it was really, really, really great time for everyone to be there. And it's one of my, not counting Legions Con, because Legions Con is more of a specific niche kind of a show. But if I were to look at the general spectrum of the shows throughout the year that I'm able to go to, RetroCon is my favorite, just because of the location, its proximity to me, and just what's available there between retro and modern stuff, and then us able to set up our Legions, our little corner, because they literally gave us the corner of the hall to be able to set up and do our stuff and be able to have the tables there for the meetup. So it really is something I look forward to every year.
Awesome. I guess we were sitting over here in jealousy, Mal, huh?
Yeah, right. Well, a friend of mine went to RetroCon last year, but I couldn't afford to go. But it is one I'd like to get to at some point for sure.
Well, Mal, when you come over and you land, Hotel Houseal will have a vacancy for you.
There you go.
I'll keep
We'll
that
have
in
candy.
mind.
We'll have candy on the pillow. I mean, you know the song. You just have to say, "Hey, Anthony," and here I come. So
There you go. Can't say no to that.
Yeah, no,
that's probably cool. Some of apart from the flight, that's the most expensive part in the trip. So if you can get that sorted,
it helps. It helps out. Anyway, the community can help out each other. Whether it's something as simple as, "Hey, man, I got a place you can crash," for a night or two, or we really try to make things home, especially when you're at someone else's region of the country. The best thing that you can do is just try to make it as home or comforting, or extend whatever kind of local things that you can to them to kind of really have them appreciate. Because the show is hard because you're spending all the time at the show, and then you're doing whatever. You don't really get a chance to go see some of the other sites in the area. So like I try to bring the donuts, the tomato pie, all that stuff that we go out to a local cuisine or something like that to experience some of that. And so we really make up for a lot of that short period of time. But, if you were to say, "Hey, I'm going to be here for a couple of days," you could take you to Valley Forge Park or, some of the other things around the area, but I really would think about retro. I know it's too close. It's real close to Legion's Con, but think about that for next year.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. I mean, that is the single best thing about being involved in all this, is the people you meet along the way, and just how nice people are to each other. Once once you get to know people, and there's a level of trust built up. I mean, you obviously meeting them in person is the best way. As soon as I went to Legion's Con, my experience with the community after that was completely different, because people were like, "It's that guy. Oh, he exists. He's not, he's not this just bubble on the internet."
You guys know about my story with Pat Boyle in the first Legion's Con, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that are not aware of it,
a lift. Yeah, you go.
Yeah. Pat Boyle reached out in the community and said, "Hey, I need a lift to get to the show." And I looked to see where it was on the map, and I said, "Sure, no problem. I can do that." So the night before, I wasn't even giving much thought about other than just helping someone who I'd never met before. Not really a lot of communication or anything like that. Laying in bed the night before, my wife goes, "What if this guy is like a serial killer or a murderer or anything like that?" I go, "Well, we're both at least going to go to the show first, because we're going to at least enjoy the bulk of the show. So if my last memory is the first Legion's Con, then so be it." But from that moment on, Pat's become a lifelong friend. I chat with him every day, beyond the plastic. So if there's something that's going on or whatever, I know I can reach out to him to just kind of like bend an ear, and likewise. So we've, just kind of been there for each other. So that's what this does. It's the fellowship beyond the plastic.
Yeah, I think there's at least as many people in America now I communicate on a regular, at least weekly basis than there is on this side of the world,
Yeah.
So, and that would never have been the case before. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And it just, even people from different parts of America, you just get different perspectives from each other, you're from Pennsylvania, then there's somebody else from the West Coast that's completely different part of America. It's like there are different type of people,
Oh yeah,
even though they're still Americans,
It's definitely a melting pot.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And how do you approach RetroCon then when Legion's Con coming up? Do you bring like different stuff? Do you maybe focus on just 3D parts, or
so? Last year, I had this, I don't know, crazy notion where I wanted to do 23 customs specifically for Legion's Con 23. So I put them all together, and I had them on display last year at RetroCon, and there was a lot of interest in wanting to get them or what have you. And I was like, no, we're going to wait to the show and everything like that. And it did well at the show, but this year I just decided that I'm going to be seeing a lot of new people for the first time. And the last thing I want to tell someone is, "Oh yeah, you want to buy that? That's great." No, you have to come to a show 2 months from now. So I have been making customs throughout the year, and I had stuff of it. I even had some older ones that just may not have, caught certain people's eyes that were there. And some of those older ones went too. I just put everything was available. I did take a lot of old toys. I sold a G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Killer Whale hovercraft. Like I was just taking.
Oh wow!
I was trying to empty up some space because the problem as a collector is that we collect and we collect and we collect. So then after a certain point, you start to figure out going, okay, I don't have room to collect anymore, and other people are going, hey, you've got a lot of stuff here. What are we doing with all this? So in order for me to continue to collect stuff, I need to do away with stuff that doesn't bring me joy anymore. So I got rid of a bunch of old stuff. So I had a full table of older toys I got rid of, and that was nice. So between painted parts, customs, unpainted parts, and then I had the beginning of the new Kings Under the Mountain display this year. Had that all together. Still working on that for November. It was a nice sized table, and was able to get rid of a lot of stuff and move things along. So, but yeah, it was. Now, like I said before, I'm going, all right, well, I need to paint some stuff because a lot of that went away.
You and me both.
Yeah.
And are you doing the thing? Are the Kings Under the Mountain doing the thing where people can, give you bring a custom and you display it on the table?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if someone wants to, if someone wants to bring a custom that they want to show up because they don't have a table space, or even if they have a table space and they want to put it together. They want to take pictures with other customs or some of the diorama stuff that I'll have there. More than welcome to do that. And I've even gone so far as if someone brings something and they go, "Hey, is it possible I could, maybe put a price tag on this?" I'm okay with that. That's a deal that 25%. They will have specifically with that person. Yeah, I take my commission. It's the king's cut. It's fine.
Just automatic.
Yeah. We give them right off the top. Because then I'll start working the deal, and I'll take their number and I'll add X on it, and that's my cut. Ask Steve Bisciotti about how he couldn't sell a dwarf at his table last year, and then 5 minutes of it sitting at my table, it was already gone and sold. So
brilliant.
So we'll have that on display as well. So I welcome people to bring them on. Yeah, bring them there. It's a way for us to get together, and really take in. And if you've made something that you're really proud of and you don't have a table to display it, well, then then that area is for you, as long as you're a dwarf.
That's cool. Yeah. So that's just small little precision there, as long as it's dwarf. Yeah. I think that's fair. There's also the malignancy. I think are they going to do something similar there?
That's correct. The malignancy, they have their area as well. So goblins and dwarfs are available at people's disposal to display. I won't speak for Dan on what their plans is or what their plan is for that, but they can. I'm sure they'll have something together. So
yeah, absolutely. So wanted to bring this up here. So this is our little area. So we are in where the Horseman was last year, basically, and then backing on to as well where the likes of Trevor were last year, and Chris
I
Gorge
think
and a few of those.
The malignancy side of the table will be facing. They'll be facing Dennis Derby and Noah and all those guys. So we're in a really great area of amazing talent and artists. Yeah. So, thankfully, we are the first things that people see before they get to Dennis and Noah. So that we have that to our advantage.
And explain a little bit here why we're going to have a little. This great area in the middle is where people can go through. So what's the vision there?
So what I did last year was when I first got to the area, when I saw the size of the booth, I saw a lot of people were putting their tables up against the edge so that the vendors could sit behind the table, put whatever. And I felt like that was a lot of lost space. So what I did was I flipped it the other way. I put the table inward and then created a whole open area so that you could walk through and interact with everyone. No chairs, no sitting. I want to be one-on-one with the people. I want to talk with the customers. I really want to get to know them, find out what their wants, their needs are, and create communication and new friendships along the way. So in doing so, Kris Farone and I were talking, going, this was fun. Like the way we set it up, I was with my buddy Stefan from Detour. We did the same thing for him where he had plenty of room too. So we created this huge open area. And the thought was, well, what if we could get a whole area like this? And then once the determining factor was that the horsemen were going to go to the other room, then it was, wow, there's a whole open island. well, what if we were to start getting some names together and figuring out if we could do something like this? So we started talking with a couple people that we felt as though we could really work together. And there are a couple people that we wanted to, potentially elevate from where they were last year to a higher spotlight area. They could be seen a little bit more. I know the Borderland Horde guys, they were stuck further in the back. So, a good opportunity for them to bring up stuff to the front because they have a plethora of amazing parts and pieces. I know they just showed off their Gundam Dwarf cosmic stuff. And as a Gundam fan, I am just thinking, wow, I was really trying not to spend money on a lot of third-party parts, but now that I'm literally diagonal from them, it's going to be very hard to not go over and say, guys, give me this kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to have them on in this run-up, and whatever about Rich hiding from you, he has to be there for that because he's
you know what?
His wallet.
Maybe you should invite me.
I have the wallet crying button, like literally going to be hammering on it the whole way through that episode.
You should invite me for that one too, and I'll just sneak up as a surprise guest on that one just to kind of catch him off guard.
Yeah, well, I'll keep you in the loop. Let's see what we can do.
So yeah, and then a perfect example of last year was like the Malignancy. So the Malignancy, Dan Tobin and a couple of his buddies were in that other room last year, and no fault of their own, it seemed like that room didn't get as much notice as everyone else because the Horsemen were over here, and then so people just kept wanting to go where that was. So definitely wanted to get Dan, who is an amazing painter. I've been watching his evolution through the years get better and better. I know originally he had issues with eyes, and now he's taken that on, head on, and he's doing some amazing, amazing work. And I'll have obviously the Goblin stuff. And as people know, my top two favorite people in all of Mythos are the Dwarves and the Goblins. So I thought it was just better to have us right there. And, my brother's a Goblin guy, and having that all there kind of works well with
You got to put up with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll put up with the Goblins.
But if you bring some of his friends in, then you don't really have to deal with them as much,
Yeah, then they can put up with them. It's perfect. There's forward thinking in this. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to have a good mix of things. We wanted to have talented painters. So Giovanni, I mean, you really can't get much more talented than it comes to Giovanni. So he is going to bring a huge amount of painted heads and parts. And I don't know what his custom count's going to be, but I can almost guarantee you if you want something from Giovanni, you're going to want to go there first. So go there. Immortal Customs, they were in our same row last year. So we wanted to bring them on. They have a nice mix of soft goods, and their sculpts are amazing. They have quite the blend of different topics and themes. So it really creates a nice mix to that. Mike is such a great customizer. Yeah. He's also really good friends with Matt Stein, 13Z Customs. So it made sense to have all those guys together. So we have some great customizers that are there as well. Again, Mythic Bits, Kris and Shane, they are, I feel like I've almost become like the third member in that little group there. We were constantly putting together ideas like the Garrison Greybeard last year for the Dwarven Towers. Like that was just an absolute blast to put together. So they'll be there as well. And then I thought, you know what? We want to make sure that when we have a nice mix, there's a lot of Mythic Media people that are out there. So who better to have than the European regency of the Mythic Media. So, I asked you guys and you were, quickly on board to jump on with that. So we went with that. And then of course, Stefan and I have known each other for a long time. He is such a talented designer. His ideas for going big and large just blow me away every year. And some of the things that he has in store this year, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think people are once again going to be amazed and blown away with what he has. So, and of course, like we said, and Mark.
And Mark, yeah. And,
I'm sorry,
that's
Mac. And Mac.
And you've mentioned them already, but so Matt Stein and you are in the same kind of section, or
Matt and I are right there together as well. And Matt's stuff is, I don't know if Matt's going to have anything available for sale at the show, the way things have been going in pre-sales. He might, I was joking with him the other day. I said, you might just be an exhibitor and less of a vendor by the time it comes around. People are just going to come and pick up your orders by Saturday afternoon. I just might have more room to spread my stuff over into your area.
He's going to be doing an Emil Wickman, is he?
Yeah, but you know what? Matt's stuff, I have one of his earlier patina armored pieces, and it's to have a piece of his work is definitely something on that level of a Giovanni, of an Emil, of something like that. And he's come through and evolved so fast that that's what blows me away. So, and he is recently appointed the brand ambassador of the Toy Forge as of a dinner I had with him last week in Atlanta.
I saw that post actually. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, painting is, it's boring to say, but painting is definitely practice. And the one thing you saw with Matt immediately when he started was he was very, very, he did an awful lot of stuff. And obviously you get better quickly then. Yeah. And then it's just about your own, obviously there's a little bit of your own talent and stuff to finesse things, but a lot of the basic stuff like eyes and stuff like that, it's just practice, isn't it? It's just kind of doing it. People are always scared to do it, and I think the thing to do is to just do it. And if you go to Legion's Con, and if you're someone that's a kind of I would say, maybe you just started customizing this year, or you want to get into it, you get a lot of cheap 3D parts, and maybe there will be tables that have deals going with them on 3D parts. Yeah. Go and get their 5 for whatever or 10 for whatever. Even if you don't like all the sculpts, loads of stuff to practice on there, and you don't mind messing them up. Then if you got them for very cheap price,
yeah, you
as
could.
Opposed to when, sorry, Anthony.
No, go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as opposed to when when you're buying them on the internet, they're obviously going to be the 12 to 15, 20 maybe sometimes for certain sculpts, and that's the point when you don't want to be messing it up.
You're right. Well, what I was going to say is if you get some of those large orders, you could dedicate some of the heads you may not be as interested in on, like you said, the practice stuff, the dry brushing. Yeah. You could practice your dry brushing on those heads. Like for what I do is when I do my painting, I have a small Warhammer, like a tree of stuff like all still factored together. And I do all my extra brushing off on that and then work on whatever. You could start using some of those parts for those things to get the different textures and figure out where exactly how much you want to apply before you put it on your $15, $20 parts. So
totally. Yeah. With dry brushing, you really want to know how much paint you have on the brush.
Right.
And it's good if you do it on a piece of plastic or some sort of a head that you're not using. That's very good.
But to go back to your original question, as I described everyone that we have there, the way we're going to set this up is similar to how I set it up last year, where it's going to be like an open marketplace. So we're going to utilize every square inch of our booth. So so if anyone's looking at the pictures from YouTube, and we can show this at a later point as well, the areas in blue will be the display areas. So you'll be able to walk around the outside of the island and see everything. And then on the inside, the gray area. So you'll walk in from the two sides. So you'll walk in from the Toy Forge and the Malignancy side, or Immortal Customs and Giovanni side, and then be able to walk through the center of it and then interact with all of us, almost like its own, like I said, like a marketplace. So that'll create a fully immersive experience. And again, like I said, no chairs. We're not going to be sitting around. We're going to be chatting and talking with people. So this is definitely a capitalist, engaging moment. I see you getting a little concerned there, Mal.
I like a good seat, a good sit down every so often.
I can confirm, Anthony. I did not sit down once at my table last year, but Mal was in the middle. But it was me and Rich with the stuff to sell. Mal was there for cover.
To be fair, which is going to be very similar.
I can't stand it. I can't sit at a table trying to sell because it doesn't work. Like
it does.
You're standing up. Someone comes along and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" Oh, and you're reaching over the table going, "Oh, there, what about that one? Oh, you're looking for dwarves, that one over there."
Exactly.
It doesn't give the right impression. Now, I understand certain people, if they have a bad knee or something, all that kind of stuff, that's understandable. But
sure.
Do your squats. Anyone on the First Alliance, do your squats in November, up to November.
You're going to be watching me throughout the day, just doing these random like Hindu squats and stretching and leaning here and leaning there and just trying to keep working out because it's always my back that gives out first. So always trying to work and keep that stretched out. I'll probably end up just throw a brace on and just call it a day and be fine. But that's the whole idea. And you guys have known me now long enough. You know that by Saturday afternoon, my voice will probably be gone because I just really want to engage and be a part of it, because it's, for a lot of these people, it's their first time seeing stuff, or for a lot of us, it's like homecoming, where we get to see people we haven't seen or interacted with all year. So we want to get caught up with them. Yeah, we message with them and everything, but it's different when you get to talk and physically engage with them. So my voice will be gone before the weekend's out, probably maybe even before Saturday is out.
I'm going to have a little bit of recording gear at our desk, because last year I focused just on, trying to sell the stuff and, wasn't trying to make my life more complicated. This year I think I can manage. So I'll get you on the mics early in the day.
Early.
That's the note.
We'll keep a recording of the degradation of my voice as it continues to erode away Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
What I want to do is just give a little, like, even if I get like a total of a half an hour of stuff out of it, it's just an impression of what it was like to be there selling.
Sure.
And kind of, I don't know. It's an idea. It might work out differently. We might end up having lots of chats with different customers. I don't know, but it's more just to give people an impression of what it was like to be there in an audio form. So let's see.
Well, and as a podcast, and that's their main source of where you guys are being known from. Having the podcast stuff set up there, I think that'll set you apart from a lot of the other guys, because anyone that's media related, they're doing stuff afterwards. So you're doing it in the heart of the show. I think that's amazing. I think it's a splendid idea.
We'll try and do a bit of both. We'll try and do it. And so are you going to intern, Anthony, or are you still?
No, I did intern 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
And it was quite an amazing experience. And is this the first time for you guys?
Yeah. So Rich was last year, but the first time me and Mal,
So I will tell you, my two favorite experiences of the whole show was the sculpting session with Eric. That was really cool, because you could tell when he gets into it, because he keeps going and like starts doing more and more and more. And we and our session, we had done a female fuzz monk that we had deemed the dragon rider. So fingers crossed that we see some sort of fuzz monk dragon rider in the years to come. But the more interesting part was Jim's tour.
I've heard that. Someone else said that. Yeah.
Jim's tour was my favorite. Like, if I could go just to do Jim's tour, I would go and do Jim's tour. The way he shows you around with what's going on. And like when we went, that was when they were still building the Kurzog Ogre. So they were the day before still putting parts and pieces, trying to make it all fit and work out. And it was great. Do the tour, and really, really soak it in, because you see a lot of really interesting things that are done. Like, he'll show you the floor, he'll show you the studio, but then he'll take you to the prop area, and you start going around seeing all the other things. You'll see the big foam CNC machine that cuts all like a big giant square foam block into all this. Like, Kurzog wasn't hand carved; it was done through a CNC machine that did all the carving for it. And it was easily my favorite part. I'd go back for that one. Like, I would love to schedule like a one-on-one session with Jim and have him do a private tour to walk me through that place. It was so crazy.
I like Jim because I feel like he's a bit like you. He's this practical bloke that like just knows a bit of everything and kind of can throw his hand at most things, you know.
And if he doesn't, he'll ask you about it and he'll want you to explain it to him so that he knows about it in the future, because he's always, always wanting to learn. So that's what I really love about my conversations with Jim. So he'll ask the thing like, what do you do for a living? And then I'll start asking you about it. And, allows him to just kind of put a little of that in his memory bank for later.
Love it. Yeah, we'll have to try and get a chat with Jim as well. Maybe not at Intern.
Yeah,
but,
we need to talk to Jim more. Yeah.
But see, that's the best thing about going to Intern than flying a day earlier even than last year. So we will have a little bit more time, like we're arriving Wednesday. So maybe Wednesday night we can do something. Thursday night after Intern, then there'll be a chance to maybe have a little hours recording at some point. Whereas last year it was just a blur. It was literally, my plane was late, my own fault,
and then help, did it?
And then by the time I got there, it was late in the evening. Then it was kind of socializing, and then up G-Con, everything was a blur after that. Then it was set up.
I showed
once
up.
You get G-Con and set up, you're boom.
Oh yeah, that's it.
You're in.
I showed up late Thursday night. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and got caught up with a couple people, and that was right before Van disappeared for 36 hours. It was so I then went to bed, got up, and I got up early, went to the gym, and then I had breakfast. I met up with Jeremy for a couple minutes, and then G-Con and it was G-Con all the way up until like midnight. And we were done setting up, and everyone was still wanting to hang out and party. And I was like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
You can only run so hard. It catches up with you. And it's so much in so little of a time that you really start to, you have to kind of give in to that.
I think you have to be more mature
like I would do
this.
I would do the same absolutely as you. I'd pick a night, maybe I'd say, right, Saturday night, I can manage the Sunday. But because it's the only time we get to see the people currently, you could possibly go to your retro cons, maybe what's that one, ZoloCon?
ZoloCon, yeah.
Might get to, at least you might more easily get to see the people in person. So I'm trying to kind of do it, all in the weekend and then pay for it badly for the 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, we all end up sick afterwards. That's the illness is always the con exclusive that we get after the show.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine, because this year I've been ill since 1st of August. And I got a relapse there this week. I could hardly talk on Thursday, so I'm happy that I'm back on antibiotics and all sorts of steroids. He says he thinks it's a throat thing and it just won't move out of the throat. I've had x-rays, blood tests. It's nothing like major, but it's not going. So it sucks. But hopefully it'll be gone for Legion's Con and then I can come back after, It's so sad. That's what you're aiming for. Just this one weekend. It's like, it's a lot of pressure on one weekend in a way.
I just need 72 hours to be healthy. That's all I'm asking for. The rest of the year, I can be,
Yeah, exactly.
In terrible shape.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on a little bit with this stuff. So I wanted to go through, you sent me over a few pictures that we can go through with various things you wanted to highlight. And obviously this isn't all of what you'll have, but it's what you wanted to highlight for our listeners.
Yeah, so we're debuting a couple new parts for Legion's Con. Obviously I am a huge fan of the Purple Gang Gang, and Glumpy was quite a big fan of Glumpy because he don't play no games. And unfortunately, while I was on vacation this year, he met his untimely end on the show due to a chorizo cruiser incident with George Gaspar and one of Pat Boyle's clones. And all I know is I heard George. And next thing you know, I Sunday morning I wake up to find out that Glumpy had passed. And there's currently a campaign right now. If we can get 1,000 subscribers to the Purple Gang Gang YouTube channel, miraculously maybe he'll come back to life. In the event that he doesn't, we have the Glumpy skull. Swap out all of your Glumpy customs to be able to put a skull on there instead. So with the new skeleton bodies coming out and everything, definitely could work in between there. And we also have what I am calling the inevitable gauntlet, because some bloke with a lot of free time on his hands had nothing better to do but decide to be on every Mythic Media show that you could think of.
Oh, we had him on, Curtis.
Yeah.
We
14 different related series over the course of, I don't know, 38 days or something. I forget what the record was. I don't know. He makes a new number every day. It gets larger and larger. It's so we have a gauntlet that's got 14 small little stones on there that you could paint whatever colors you want.
Nice.
And you could slap that on there for whatever your inevitable custom wants to be. So we're those are two new things. Well, I don't know. There are green stones on there somewhere, so that might work for most of you guys, right? I don't know.
Work for me anyway. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. So
we can let Curtis choose the stones,
Yeah, and you can choose as well. Whichever one you want it to be as your favorite show can be the big stone in the center, and then the rest of them just kind of all fall in place.
Then we've got it. Sorry.
There's a big stone in the center. Then to the right, there's two medium-sized ones, and then a lot of smaller ones in between. So you can just kind of go crazy with that.
It's just amazing how it's grown, because when we started the show, so a year and a half ago, it was kind of because there wasn't a lot of Legion's Cast, which was the podcast, that was really not going much. And you had Trevor with his show, and obviously Jeremy with his shows, and Jesse and Curtis. And that was it. And it wasn't, the regularity wasn't as much. I mean, I think Jesse and Curtis and Jeremy obviously were quite regular, but the other shows were very hit and miss kind of with their timing. And since then, it's just like there's an every day in the week coverage. You don't need Netflix anymore. You could just watch Legion's TV on YouTube,
And what's great, and this isn't, blowing smoke up your asses or anything, but what I am a podcast fan.
Yeah,
I prefer my format in pod, because I do a lot of traveling on the road.
Yeah.
And it's easier to just listen to what's going on, because if there's video content, makes it a little hard to be driving and trying to see what they're showing off or what's going on and everything in between. Like even this, like I understand.
Yeah, but that's why I try and, describe what it is usually. So
yeah. And you do a great description of describing everything of what exactly it is. So I'm able to kind of visualize what's going on. And plus, as long as you are paying, 10% attention in the community, you have a general idea what's going on. So when you describe stuff, it's kind of easy to keep up. So there is, for you guys, I feel as though, there you go.
Closer picture. Yeah. I just put them all into one picture. So that's the skull, obviously. And that's the awesome gauntlet.
Very cool.
So the skull, what I did with Diago is that I wanted to create my own skull. Something that could be dwarvish in itself. And what I debuted the clean shaven skull at RetroCon. And this is the first one with hair on it. So going forward, I'll be able to take many of my older sculpts that I've done and take the hair from that and put that on there. It's kind of like how what the Necronomicus wave was to do the skeleton version. I'll be able to do the same thing with a lot of older things and just say, hey, let's take the beard off of this head and put it on here and kind of go from there. So that should be fun throughout the year, because it's definitely going to be a skeleton based year. And I'm not the biggest undead fan, and many people know that already. So I'm trying to make this my new Taylor Swift era of skeletons, where it's going to be my Taylor era of bones. So I'm kind of trying to embrace it a little bit more.
There will be dwarf scale bones to use, though.
And there will be dwarf scale bones to use, yes. The only thing that we're missing now will be dwarven forearms and dwarven shins, but doesn't mean that won't be happening before the year is out. I can at least on a third party basis, I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, there you go. Nice little tease. Yeah, when Necronominus arrives, the community is going to be going skelly crazy.
Definitely Undead Legions will be running wild for a while here.
And I'm sure All-Star 6 is coming shortly. I wouldn't say it's going to take too long after. So
I hope not, because I really want that Scally.
Yeah, I was thinking, that's why I mentioned it. I was thinking if of that
Yeah.
guy, Scally Bones.
Well,
Splitter.
and really with that Scally, I plan on getting a lot of them because of that chest plate, because I just can't justify getting a lot of poxi, I don't know what the plural of him would be. So poxis,
I like. Yeah, it just sounds right.
A plethora of poxis is not on
There
my
you
to-do
go.
list because of the price point. Because it's just, I really want that chest plate is just awesome. And I have one or two of them, but that's good enough. But when Scally comes out, I'll be able to utilize a lot of the older chest plates and swap parts in and out and create, a lot of other bodies, but then use that new torso for other projects coming out. And the heads are really, really great.
It's awesome. Just got a message from Rich. He's visiting the castle, so he's doing his little outdoor mythic stuff with his family today. And he says he's missing you, Anthony. So
he is full of shite because he invited me. I got the message from him to be on this show. He knew what time it was. He intentionally went to that castle as opposed to, he put a castle between us. A whole ocean and a castle between us.
Hopefully he ends up in the dungeon, yeah? And you see next week he just be this badly lit guy on a really bad connection. Hi.
Yeah.
That's just Rich's connection, isn't it?
True. That's normal. Just switch the light off and you got the bad dungeon. So this is a cool display, I guess, from one of your recent conventions.
This was at RetroCon, yeah. So this is the onset of what we're going to do for Kings Under the Mountain. This is the Garrison Greybeard that we had last year as well, but we were with our diorama display behind it. As we are talking, I am working on a front piece that
smokes.
lock into the front of that. So we'll have
that again there, Anthony.
Yep.
Sorry, mate.
We'll have a whole display thing that will eventually lock into the. If we're going to do this, we might as well go all out, right?
That's going to look impressive.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
That is good.
That's so smart.
Yeah. A battlement's attached to the shelf. Yeah.
Because, I want a lot of dwarfs on display. In order to do that, I need to be able to have that. And really, when you look at that display, the Garrison really knocks out a lot of the first shelf behind it. Yeah. So I'll go up and then higher and then out. And then I have to go and grab some pillars, some dowel rods to create additional support, because I'm hoping, once we put 10 dwarves on there, it'll get kind of heavy, and I want to be able to
a bit heavy,
support that. So I'll have that, and probably a small saw to have to cut to measure depending on what we're doing for everything at the show. And Detours adding some additional parts and pieces to it. And I've working on a few things. So this is just the rough prototype version 1 for this year, but
looks great.
We'll have the forge in there. We'll have a throne room. We'll have weapons racks. We'll have all that stuff. So everyone will be able to have a good time, be able to take some cool photos and things in there.
So so there you go. You have an idea of what kind of some of the display in the area is going to be like. Here's some 3D heads that you're going to be
Jason Rodriguez. I don't know what deal with the Crossroads Devil that he made this year, but the dwarfs that he's been putting out have just been absolutely amazing. And Giovanni, who is not a big dwarf guy, even said, I want a couple of these dwarf heads to paint. So that tells you something that you're definitely hitting the mark when you're capturing the eyes of non-dwarf fans. And even Mark Calvo has been taking a lot of these and using them in a non-dwarf scale for a lot of the Game of Thrones stuff. So which is really cool.
Beard-tastic, I'd say. And Anthony does great prints, people. So Anthony's printing our sculpts as
really
well
high quality.
For the show. So really exciting. Here's a bunch of customs. So I guess some of them are sold already, Anthony.
Yeah, I have a couple guys that have been incredibly supportive throughout the year, that I wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of like a first look over. And some of those have been picked up along the way. But and my price points, they range anywhere between $130 and $300. And when I say $300, it really, I put that price out there because that is a number that, like, if I don't sell it, it doesn't hurt my feelings that it gets to come back home with me because it's a really good one. So I have a fun name for that I call it my FU price, because someone says, F you, that's too high. Then I'll go, okay. But if they say, okay, I'll buy it, then I'll go, well, F me, I have to sell it to you, even though I didn't necessarily want to get rid of it. And then we have to ask Dr. Brent about that. He knows a couple of those. He's called my bluff on a few of those. So, but yeah, we've got
good.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. You can tell based off of my, and it's not value based off of like which ones I like more or less, but there are some that I put a lot of
parts,
time, commitment above and beyond it, where it's like, all right, there's more than just the time and material in that price. There's just a little bit of extra love on those. So,
and here's a dwarf. He used the NECA body.
So I took the Elkhorn body, and I heated it up to where I was able to peel the soft torso off of it, and then remove the upper body, stick a Legion's torso in there, and then I added some mass to the waist ball, and then because I knew I was making cut, I just ended up just gluing it in place, because really there's enough the mobility and the freedom of the way that figure works that it could just be like one torso to waist as one solid piece. And then I was able to plug in the mythic arms, the mythic head, and everything like that. So, and then I just, chopped up a few of the weapons and made them a little bit more, in scale to the Legion hands.
Excellent. Really nice. There's another guy with a beard.
Yep.
Is this Mythic Bits beard, or is this the beard?
No, this is a
Arazak, is it? Or
Arazak beard. I have another one here that eventually at some point will end up on there. So I pulled the beard out of the cavern dwarf, and then I put in there, and then there might have been a little bit of the green stuff, the neatite, to just kind of blend in a couple spots here and there. And then I took the Torgan mohawk and I implanted that in the top of the helmet. And then from Elkhorn, because no parts are left behind, I took the ponytail out of that, and that's plugged into the back of that character. And then there's some rogue printing pauldrons. That's the Gallus waist piece. There's some soft goods, some fur that's integrated in there, the Elkhorn axe.
Wow. And
then I made a small axe knuckle duster kind of hand weapon there. So, and then I used the a Black Series backpack. So he's got a fully, just kind of throw it together, and then just some light paint apps on the rest of it to kind of blend it all together. So, but
yes, it's a lot of stuff. As you can hear, who are those soft goods from? The little skirt piece there. It looks really cool.
That was a piece I got from Josh Campbell. He was in and out of the community in a little bit of a quick spurt there. He did a bunch of the dwarf pants, and this was a one-off piece that he had taken. I ended up cutting and trimming it because it's actually covers the whole torso, and then the skirt, the waist as well.
Awesome. Some cosmic dwarves. We've been talking about those, Mal. We're very excited for cosmic dwarves. Somebody's got a lot of cool ones.
Yeah, so I went ahead and I started making what I call the Dwarf Star mining team. So it's going to be a group project that I'm going to be working on, as I started already, and we'll probably be continuing to make a few more. I feel like a good squad would be like six of them to work together. So I'm just kind of coming up with the different assignments and roles. I have 3 done. I have the supervisor, who is the older gentleman with the Olek dome. He has a light up feature in the back of the helmet there where you can twist that and it lights up inside the helmet. So you'll be able to see his face. Then we have our miner who's got I think it's a Marvel Legends Warlock. I think, is it Warlock? I forget what it was. A Build-A-Figure, the buzzsaw. That's just attached to one of the plugs, to the small rocket plug. Yeah. And then I just added some
Thor lightning effect, isn't it?
Some Thor lightning effects, and then my pick. But then at the chest there, those two domes, they light up as well. So all these characters will have various light up features.
And here's me with my fluorescent paint. Oh well,
fluorescent paint's cool as well, John.
yeah. So dwarf with or is it a goblin with a bear?
Goblin. It's my frost goblin.
Frost goblin.
Yeah. Amazing. So I took the Naughty or Nice Barbarian Santa that came out last year. I used that, and then I came across some. I think it was DC Primal was the line that came out a couple years ago. It's like 5.5 style. I took the Ice Claw from that.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I took one of the staffs that have been out with Legions and took one of the axe heads and merged that into almost like a long Dane axe of sort.
Yeah.
And then I took some of the skull pieces from the elephant poacher character from McFarlane, and then put that in there, and then gave him the bow necklace and things like that. So then gave him he's goblin thighs, but then dwarf shins and feet to kind of pat him out a little bit more. So he's got a lot of different sizes. And then I took the Xylurian Guard visors and then mounted them on top of the pauldrons as well.
Oh, that's what's on the pauldrons.
Yeah.
Love it. Very cool. Who's this guy then?
I love this.
Mining
this
company?
is just our Dwarf Star Mining Company. This is just our logo. I just got stickers made for it as well. So you'll have some small stickers.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You'll be picking one of them up.
Yep. And I went with the Union local because of 99, because that's, as we're celebrating the anniversary for the studio. So that's why I went with 99.
The 25 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and there's my driller. So before, in one of my previous jobs, I actually, for a living, cut concrete. So that meant I was either slab sawing with large saw blades or core drilling. So, we would core drill with 68-inch core drill bits. So we were talking like almost 5 foot in diameter bits, over 5 foot in diameter bits, that you'd be drilling in the concrete. So this is a 2-inch in diameter bit, which, in comparison to that, kind of means it's a large drill bit for this guy. And then that's all integrated with light. It has its own drill rig, which is its own separate piece that has its own lighting up parts. And then the driller himself has its own separate light up feature as well. So you'll have the supervisor telling the guy where to drill. He'll drill, get a section opened up, and then you'll have the miner going in there doing the mining. And as I showed you guys earlier, I'm working on the engineer, the female engineer / repair dwarf, to fix the stuff. If a wrench won't work, then we'll use a hammer to smash it into place and, kind of go from there. So I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping to have like 6, and then I have to figure out this will mainly be for Legions Con 25 next year. So I'm already planning for next year. I really want to have a really cool open diorama space where they could be working on as well.
That's brilliant. So, I mean, there you go, listeners. If you just hear the kind of stuff that you're going to see at Legions Con, I mean, it's just incredible. And we're only starting on the road to hearing what we're going to get. So you've got light up stuff. You've got, all sorts of creative use of parts. Amazing. So before you go and we go on, we're going to talk to Kris Farone in the second half of this episode. I wanted to talk quickly about the drop that we had this week.
Yeah.
Which was the Frankenstein's creature, because
how amazing is that?
Yeah, we won't get to have a separate chat this week, Mal, with Rich. So let's cover it here for the moment.
Yep.
It's my first and very short summary is amazing figure. Whether you want a Frankenstein or not, just look at all the parts. You know, what we're talking about here now is customizers, even just from that angle. I mean, give me the jacket, give me the, you know, all the body
pants,
parts, the pants. Yeah. When you were talking about the pants there for the, you know, for a dwarf custom or whatever, I was thinking it can be easily modified off this guy.
Oh yeah, I'll be snipping a pair down real short. Don't you worry.
A little bit of hot pants. So Mal, firstly, you're a big Figura Obscura fan. You're a one one in the box, one out of the box.
Yeah.
Was that what you got, or did you get any extras?
Yeah. I did. I got one extra because I've already got some ideas for a cosmic custom that I'll use the pants, boots, and jacket on. So which will go with my little Space Pirates collective that I've got. But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic figure all round. Yeah, it's one of those that makes you want to find things to do with the parts because they're so cool. Yeah, and it's we've already gotten near to it with some of the other Figura Obscura, but I mean, it's as close to a play set as we're getting at this point, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Yeah, that table and everything. I mean, you could do some funky stuff with that in terms of dwarf. You know, maybe your space dwarfs. Maybe you can use the rig that comes with that or something.
Yep.
Anthony.
Oh yeah, the gears were turning. I was at my son's baseball game yesterday morning, and had the alarm set, and it timed out perfectly where he was up fourth at bat, so I had enough time to get in and grab what I needed. And then was able to watch him, you know, go ahead and hit and everything. So I ordered two. I always get the all in because I've become the mug collector.
Yeah, me too.
And that mug is, I mean, we need to talk about the mug. Like that one. Yeah. I really hope that becomes the new standard because that looks sturdy. It looks like as I'm drinking from my Marley one this morning. That should hold temperature really well. So like the Marley one gets a little toasty on that handle when you put your hot coffee in there. Yeah, but I think the way that it's shaped and designed like that, that's really cool. And it's funny. Here we are at this point. We're talking. First thing I want to talk about is the mug.
About mugs. Yeah.
Mugs are crazy. The accessories are so cool. The non-figure accessories are so cool.
And that's really what comes to mind is that when you're buying these things, like when I'm looking at Monkey King right now, and I'm looking at Anubis and Bastet, like the accessories that come with them are so crazy that at this point now, the play set that you could just build with all the different parts that could intertwine. Now, keep in mind, some things will and won't, but like the small vases from the Egyptian stuff, you'll be able to use some of that for a nice display stuff. So you could really build a cool diorama piece with some shelving and stuff that, you know, have that all in place. And the tables, it definitely has that steampunk retro sci-fi vibe that you could use for a lot of different themes, depending on what you want to do. And all the different accessories that come with it. Like, it's just like, I'm really excited for this one. I showed Tony, after the game was over and went ahead and got a second one because I knew we were going to need one because really, the obscure stuff is interesting because a lot of it's seasonal based. So Father Christmas and Krampus only come out at Christmas time. Red Death, Headless Horseman, and Frankenstein, you know, are probably going to be Halloween things. But like, I'm going to want an extra one or two of these just for the extra customization that you could use for other stuff. Like, you know, I'm already thinking Frankendwarf or Dwarfenstein or whatever I got to do to make that work because, and it'll be cool because once we get some of the skeletal pieces, you could really go nuts mix with
match there. Yeah.
You know, parts this that, you know,
this and a tuberculi together.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And like, there's your box of Lego. Have fun, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I'm a customizer and I'm at the Legion's Con and I've got a couple of £100 maybe that I've made up my table to spend at the Horseman booth, and I'm saying, right, I'm going to get figures to make customs for the next year. Maybe I just get a load of Figura Obscuras and unbox them all, throw them into a small box and throw them into my luggage, because the parts that come with them, I mean, and to get them, without postage and without anything, and they're expensive figures compared to, say, a standard figure, but they're not expensive for what you get. So
as long as you keep the backgrounds, because Nate Barch's backgrounds,
of course,
create instant photography. Because the Monkey King one,
flatten out in the luggage.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. The Monkey King one I use as the backdrop for all of my photos when I take stuff to display it. To me personally, because when it comes to Legions, I collect all my Mythic Legions, and I also customize Legion. Cosmic, I'm at a point now where I'm just customizing Cosmic stuff. I'm not really collecting anything in its original form. Figure Obscure, I'm buying and then to keep its collection and then customizing, because it's still early enough in its infancy. But I personally believe that the Monkey King is probably the greatest figure that the studio has ever made. Just when you compare the parts that were involved, the sculpting, the options, the different face plates, the chest plate that can, the size change from the dwarf shin to the regular, the soft goods that were involved. Like, I keep looking at it. Like, I can't help but just keep getting amazed by it. That really set the standard for what Obscura needs to be. And they've just keep setting the bar above and above and above every time. So I'm very happy.
Watching Dorklair's review, I mean, it's basically an entirely new figure. There's no reuse here. It's just the hang-on head, the skull, the hands, and pretty much everything else is new, Because
it's a taller 1.0 body. It's not a brute, but it's a taller 1.0, which when I first saw what the count was, the limit for characters, I figured someone's going to order a whole case. So what fits in a case? So a standard figure, I believe, is 24 to a case. Bigger figures, like a 2-pack or whatever, would be 12 to a case. But when they said 16, the first thing came to mind was brute scale. But essentially, when you factor all that together, I mean, that makes sense where that goes through. So once again, you think you know the answers, and then they change the question on you.
Yeah,
totally. Righty-ho. Well, we're going to get over and chat to Kris. Anthony, it's been awesome to have you on again, as always. Can't wait to see you in November and hang out. And one of the best things about being in the row with you this year is that I'll get to chat to you more, because in the chaos last year, I was over to you a couple of times, to buy stuff and to say hello, but we didn't get to see each other that much. So this is cool.
Yeah, and it was nice too, having the option to pick. I was able to pick some people that, like, I go, well, if I had to spend a weekend with a bunch of people, who would I want to spend a weekend?
Maybe that's the best way to do it. All right, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
cheers, Anthony. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
So, Kris Farone, great to have you back. You were with us last year on episode 33, so almost a year ago now in October. So this is this will be in episode 85. So
wow,
we've done a little bit of work. We've been busy.
You guys put in a lot of work.
And how are you doing all the way over there in Washington?
I'm doing great. I was going to get up at originally when we planned this like an hour before, hour and a half, and then the FO drop happened. So I've been up since like 5:30. So my time.
That's right. We got Figura Obscura today as of recording. How did you find that? Pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I grabbed a couple. Figure Obscura usually for me is like a lot. Like Red Death bought a lot. Marley bought a lot. This one too, I'll probably go back for a couple more later. I buy them, a lot of it because of the last few FO drops. The new parts have just been crazy, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The coat on this one today is that coat.
And it's brute scale trench coat, right? So it's way bigger than Marley's.
Yeah.
So seeing its brute scale trench coat, I was like, oh man, well, I probably should have got more. Let me go back. And I got two on the initial drop, just because one I'll display regular, and then one I'm going to totally paint flesh and turn into a flesh golem, like I'm sure half of the rest of the customizers will do. Right? That's like guaranteed. Everyone's going to make flesh.
Yeah, you won't be unique on that one. That's for sure.
No, wanted the Haganon head for some Red Death bodies I still have, because I don't have extra Haganon heads, and I didn't want to buy I don't like the figure that much, so I didn't want to buy extras of him.
Agreed.
Yeah, not my favorite, but the head is awesome. Like the head is
it's legit cool. One of the coolest heads in the line, that's for sure.
One of the coolest heads. So then I thought about it. Then I watched Dorklair's video, which I should have watched first, because I would have bought.
That's when I realized the scale of the figure.
Yep, totally messed me up.
So that was pretty sweet, and the amount of new parts, because I had just assumed, kind of quickly browsing through the pictures, that the bits with the stitches on it. Yeah. So okay, clearly a new torso, and then I thought new forearms and lower legs, because that's what I could see in the pictures. But it seems like everything, even the feet, have these stitches on them, and the upper arms around the back.
And it's new boots.
Yeah.
The uppers look like the new. Yeah. The uppers, arms, and legs look like the new muscle, like the new muscle lower, like the ones we're getting in Gaspar. The arms look new. I don't know if those are like. They look smaller than the new muscle arms, so the uppers might be new as well.
I think the lower arm's actually extended as well, isn't it? Overlay long, whatever you want to call it, for a human arm, to get that gorilla hanging arms look, isn't it?
A monster look.
Really cool. Yeah.
And they started doing that with Cosmic, right? Where they would take a 1.0 body and extend the lower limbs to give you a weird size. Monkey King did that too with the longer forearm. So it's a great way to have an existing library and kind of change the look of the figure. I like the hair head. The second one, the hair's getting ripped off for sure. That's going on somebody. I don't know who is going on somebody.
You're as we get to see, you are someone that does a lot of that type of customizing, where you're cutting bits off, and the Dremel is out, and the file is out, and there's lots of sandpaper involved, and glue, and all that kind of stuff. Not just a painter.
My favorite part of customizing is slicing and splicing. It's my favorite. Yeah. Even before Mythic Legions, when it was G.I. Joes, even when I was a kid, like I used to saw off like one of the forearms and then glue it onto another one. I like seeing things and going, I like you. So it's weird because I 3D, obviously I own half of a 3D printer company, right?
That's right.
I think total this year in my customs, this is going to sound bad. This is like bad promotion, but I think I'm using like 10 3D prints of the 40, 50 customs I'm going to have. Not a lot of 3D prints.
That's kind of cool. Then it, it shows the kind of creativity, because it's not just like, often when I do a custom, I'm more focused on the painting. So if I have something unique, it'll be like a 3D printed head, or maybe a unique paint on a part. But I generally don't tend to cut them up. And there's lots of guys like you that do that, and you'll be looking at a picture, and then they'll be like, you'll be reading the text, and it'll be like, oh, it's all Legion's parts. Okay, now I need to go back and look at this and try and figure it out before reading on. Yeah, I really like that. It's it's cool that everyone is kind of got their own little way of approaching stuff.
Agree. And I actually think, and this is no disrespect to anyone who doesn't do it, because I don't do it much. I do it a little bit, but not to the level like yourself and some others. I actually think it's even harder. It makes that custom even just slightly next level above one that just uses printed parts, because people can buy printed parts and paint them up. It's harder to accurately cut things in just the way you want, glue them to hide the seams, and so on and so forth.
It definitely takes some time. I would say practice. I'm way better now than I was previously. I used to kind of screw things up. It would take me sometimes 2 tries on certain heads. But what happened? So 2 years ago, I did a head, and the only thing I've ever regret selling at Legion's Con all these years, because I sell every custom I make comes to Legion's Con for sale. Once I'm done with a custom, 99% of the time, I don't care about it anymore. I'm in love with the process of customizing, not the figure. I like writing the backstory. I like making the custom. Once a figure's made, I'm kind of like, whatever. I want to move on to the next thing, right? And those fund the next set of customs. But a couple years ago, Travis Canning bought this from me. I took a old Attila head that I had ripped out of the lion. I took a Grisha, the little face thing. And I took a Vitus topper off of his gladiator helmet. Whoa. And made a gladiator Attila, and I got the cuts and glue like I'm not going to say perfect, but they were damn close. And he bought just that. He didn't buy the rest of the figure. He just made me a great offer on the head. And I was so like, it was the first Legions Con I'd been to, obviously first time as a vendor. And I was just so happy that people like my stuff. I'm like, I'll sell it. It's the only thing I regret selling in going on 3 years of going to the show, because I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm ever going to have an extra Grisha head. And I had, where the part came from, I had started another custom with that head and totally botched it. And instead of throwing that little piece out, I was like, I'm going to save this maybe someday. And then even part of it too, I took a Fury Orc, like an extra Fury Orc head I had, the helmeted one, and I cut the face off and I glued the Attila onto it so it had a stock fit. And it's probably the best, even to this day, it's the best slice and splice I've ever done.
Well, that's so this is your third Legions Con, isn't it?
Yep, this is number 3.
So we met you in the watching G-Con on the famous projector.
the projector room where I got no sleep.
Yeah, that was your first Legions Con as a vendor, and our first Legions Con full stop.
Yeah.
And things have evolved from then. So how has it evolved for you over the kind of 3, or obviously we've had 2 now, and we're planning for number 3 in 6-7 weeks time.
I think it's interesting. We set out so Mythic Bits is the company I co-run.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably should have said that. I'm bad podcaster. Yeah, Kris is from Mythic Bits. We just assume your knowledge, listeners. Sorry about that.
What that really is it's anything Shane Mann, who owns 3D Man Creations. He does printing outside of Mythic Legions. He prints for companies. He prints for other people, he prints. He has a little farm, and he owns a lot of large printers. So he prints in mass. Anytime.
So that's a good part of his income then, like you would say, or yeah.
Yep. And I believe his actual job is 3D. He does 3D printing for dental stuff. So he
right.
He works at a 3D print studio, and he 3D prints at the house, right? Anytime we collaborate, we call it Mythic Bits, right? We're cool. Anytime we do something together. What's changed is originally I had an idea of when I would do something, I would have my own brand, and I just got caught up in the Mythic Bit stuff, and I never really did it. So my custom we posted on our Instagram. I actually have an Instagram called Pharaoh's Forge that I owned before we owned Mythic Bits. I've had that forever. Never used it.
All right.
But what's evolved is this year we expanded, right? So we have a channel, have a whole table full of resin parts, and we are fingers crossed going to have another new playset this year, like we did with the dwarf one. We're working on it. It's not done yet. I wish it was done and I could show you guys samples. It is currently in the machine.
Cool.
Right? So we're going to try and bring that. We'll have a bunch of heads, and we always try to be the most affordable place. So this year, instead of 4 for $20 on heads, it'll be 5 for $20 on 3D printed heads.
Wow.
And our heads, I'm going to say most of them. I'm sure we have worked in a sculpt owned by other people, but most of the heads on the table, I'd say 90% are unique sculpts. So that's what's a little different about us. Usually, like the universal sculpts, like that Jason does or Tiago does, like the kits, everyone will sell those for $5 or $6 now, which has changed a lot over the years. Prices come down.
That's come down, yeah.
And
market forces, that's America.
Listen,
it's America in a bottle.
I'm telling you, when I came in the game 3 years ago, I was like, hey, stuff's a little overpriced. Let's bring the price down.
True, it was. Yeah, I bought a few sculpts at my first Legions Con that I was kind of like, ooh, I paid a lot for them.
There's a lot, right? And a lot of work goes into it. I get all that, but now, absolutely. But I know how the sauce is made now, so I'm like, okay. And then we've always been on the lower end of what stuff costs. When heads were 12, we were at 8, right?
Yeah.
What's different is a lot of people, their unique sculpts are more because you got to pay your artists and how they got it set up, right? Well, we figured it out. We bought the bigger machines. The bigger machines let you run off 40, 50 heads at a time.
Wow.
Right? It brings cost down. So all of our sculpts, whether it's universally sold or not, at Legions Con and Legions Con only, we'll do 5 for 20. So you're basically paying.
Well, there you go, guys. Whether you want the sculpts for the sculpts, or whether you want to get a batch and level up your painting by not fearing it, it's not as bad to mess up on a $5 sculpt than a $20 sculpt.
Right.
And maybe have to strip the paint, or at $5 I'd probably just I don't know, do a battle damaged version if I messed it up.
$4.
$4. That's
5 for
right.
20.
Yeah. Sorry.
5 for 20,
5 for 20.
5
Yeah.
for 20.
Oh my God.
So what changed this year? We added, because we started. Most people when they 3D print start filament, then they go to resin. We were the reverse. We started at resin, and I decided to pick up some filament machines this year. So I've got 4 Bamboo Labs printers at the house, and I have been the last 4 months working on different things for filament printing.
So they're good for like stuff like dio pieces and more of this kind of less organic stuff, if you know what I mean.
Less organic stuff. Yes, less organic is the correct. That is the very correct term.
More like if you were to do a house or something in a like a miniature house, or something, be ideal.
Yep, house little dial piece. So earlier this year, I did flag stands for the banners. The little stand.
Right, I saw those. Yeah,
you can plug in the middle banner section, plug your banners in. But one thing so everything for 3D printing, it's always something like, I want this for me.
Gotcha.
And then, maybe other people will like it, and we kind of go from there, right?
Yeah.
So what I've always wanted is a non-Masters of the Universe weapons rack, because that's the only one floating around.
Right.
So
I'll bring you up big here. Whoa.
yes.
I sat down in my little cave, and this is except for the texturing, which I'll show you a painted version in a second.
Yeah.
Minus the texturing, I designed the whole thing from scratch. First time I've ever, I guess, CAD'd something.
So that's in a program like CAD, or
No, this is actually in the program that comes with the printers.
Okay.
Wow.
They give you like some basic modeling tools, and it's amazing what you can do with some basic modeling tools.
Yeah.
So, it'll hold well over 25 weapons.
Wow.
And this is what it looks like. It will paint. So one myth about FDM that I thought is that it doesn't paint well.
Yeah.
And it paints pretty good.
Yeah.
That looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks fantastic.
Really good.
So paints up really well. That FDM, and it's not that we couldn't do that with resin. It's just, it's not the same, right? And sorry, I didn't show this part. So the way this works is you actually get it.
Back up there.
Yep. We're going to, I was not prepared for this part. That's my bad. I feel like this.
No problem.
I feel like I'm on QVC and I messed this up. Could have been prepared. So what it does is you're going to get it. It comes, you take it apart.
Yeah.
So it's multiple parts.
Yeah.
And then you just put it together. Oops. You assemble it through these posts. The posts hold it in.
Wow.
And you're good to go. That's it. That's how it's assembled.
And that the FDM is a little, it's not as, now I know resin is quite, the quality has always going up these days, but it's not as breakable as resin, I think.
Not as breakable as resin. I have found the precision, at least for cheap resins, right? Cheap resins, you have a shrink rate. Filament, the shrink rate is much, much less.
Yeah.
Like if I put something to 1/10 of a millimeter, it's right there. So getting things to fit quickly, being able to
like those plugs now you showed with the thing, with that might be a bit of a few failed resin prints before you get that dialed.
And in resin, we would probably print this thing in one piece, right? But then shipping it, you got some some wiggle room there. So the other thing, so that's one thing where I'm going to have all the FDM stuff will be the way our table's set up. Shane's got his own super cool Mythic Bits table that'll have a bunch of crap on it. And then Giovanni and I split a table.
That's right. You're kind of behind us, but we're all in the one section, which is this first alliance that we talked to Anthony about.
Yep.
So anyway, continue. Sorry.
I'll be sharing table with Giovanni, and then all my little filament stuff will be right there.
Awesome.
And speaking of first alliance, so that's a good segue, John. That was
I've done this before.
You guys are veterans at this. I was not prepared.
As you've heard, 33 to 85. If we haven't learned one thing or two by then we're not doing it right, huh?
So the first alliance, can we park on the first alliance for a minute?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So first alliance. So everything in our row, right? If you look at that on a map.
Yeah.
If all you guys that are listening at home, go look on the map.
First, where the Horseman table was last year, if you were there, isn't that right?
That's right. A bunch of us we've decided everyone on our row should do something fun. So we kind of named the row the First Alliance, right? Spearheaded by Anthony Houseal. So as my contribution to that, we're going to run a fun promotion. So any customers who buy from a First Alliance table, if the vendor decides to, they can give them one of these coins, and everyone will have a different color.
Yeah.
Everyone will have a certain amount of coins. If you bring your coins to the First Alliance Mercantile Exchange, that's me, bring me two different coins, you will get a random 3D print for free.
Wow.
Here's the kicker. The 3D prints that will be available for this promotion, the only way you can get them is this way.
Oh, wow.
So
okay. Can we enter?
So there'll be some alternate versions of heads that we weren't even selling. Like there are some heads that I can't sell, right? I've talked to whoever owned the original sculpt that we modified or whatever, and they said, hey, you can use it for giveaways, but no
not
selling.
For
okay, cool.
Selling. Okay.
And I'll have extras. Like it's like extras. I print 6 for me for customs, and then I have a couple extra, right? So there'll be some of those. I'm also going to be selling some keychains or bag tags this year. And
brilliant. Everyone going back from Legions Con, they'll be just, if you're in, I don't know, some random airport in America and you see a bag tag and you'll be like, oh, he must be at Legions Con too.
Very cool.
So this is what FDM's good for. So the machines I have are 2 color. So these print, this is flat.
So for the audio listeners there, Kris, tell us what the different keys are. We do YouTube as well, of course, but for the audio.
For the audio listeners, so we've got the Kings Under the Mountain represented, the Brood.
Yeah.
People little know there is a barbarian group called Pillage and Plunder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No,
see, nobody knows that.
Need to get rich in there.
Run by the illustrious Pat Boyle.
It's Pat's group. Okay.
We got the Crypt, the Horde, the Malignancy, and then there's, of course, an extra dwarf one, which is # Decade of the Dwarf. So certain ones of these colors. So if you look at the Horde, the green Malignancy, the white Crypt, the colors you would expect, those are going to be for sale at 2 for $5.
Wow.
So you get 2 bag tags for $5.
Very cool.
The other colors, like the Fury Horde colors and the alternate Brood, those are only available through that Mercantile Exchange program. And it'll be a random pull out of the bag. There'll also be heads in there. You can't get anywhere. Like there will be some stuff that's on my customs that will not be for sale at the Mythic Bits too.
Gotcha.
Sounds so fun.
I thought that was a cool way. Like we're collectors, right? It's fun to collect stuff.
Of course. Yeah. It definitely appeals straight away to collector mindset.
Inventory will be limited. I thought the bag tags would be a fun idea. So I went to all the groups.
Totally.
I said, hey, can I do this? Are you cool with me selling them 2 for $5? Like every year I always hear people or I get feedback that, I came Legions Con, I spent a lot of money to get here. I can't buy anything at the tables, right? And I'm like, man, that's, that always, so I always try to bring prices down to a certain level. These were just enough. It's $5. You get 2, right? So if you got a couple people or, I think for $5, you get pretty cool things to just, put it on your backpack, put it on your keychain, however you want to set it up.
Awesome.
Oh, the last thing about
I was going to say actually that if you want to go away from Legions Con with lots of stuff, I think your table is going to be a good spot.
You got to shop lots of stuff. You got to shop the First Alliance, folks, right? Yeah. And then you're going to be able to get free stuff. Like who doesn't love free stuff?
Totally.
So I don't have an example with a First Alliance one, but all the keychains will also come with.
An actual.
They are going to come with that.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a key ring and a clip on your 2 for $5.
I mean, that almost is like $1 or $2 value in itself,
So I thought this was a way to kind of, obviously recoup everything, but a way to like if someone's going and they're saying, hey, it's going to be rough,
Yeah.
I spent all my money to get there, or an extra $5, like. I think that's a good way to do it. And you guys were so gracious, the whole group of you, right?
Yeah.
Detour, Mike, Borderland Horde, you guys, Funhouse, Giovanni, Toy Ford. Who am I missing?
He-Mike.
Immortal
Just say
Collections.
Immortal,
He-Mike,
yeah. Tristan
Immortal Collections. Everyone was cool enough to like think this idea of the First Alliance thing would be a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I appreciate that. And I can't thank you guys enough for taking a risk and wanting to do that.
No, it's awesome. I was
thank you.
Definitely last year speaking to a few people, and especially Anthony. It was like I'd love to be involved in something like what Len and his kind of corner did, and a little bit what Anthony had done. There was a bit of a section there as well with Steph and Mark, and so it's cool that kind of like similar-minded kind of groups who kind of get on. And have a similar kind of theme and a lot of it is going to be a little dwarfy in some of the tables for sure, but that's what you gotta expect. But there is still a lot of variety,
Goblin-y. It'll be
goblin-y as well. Yeah, we got the malignancy.
Forgot the malignancy and and Tobin's.
That's true. Yeah.
Matt Steen will be there.
Steen, yeah, absolutely. He's down. I think he is sharing with Mark or Anthony.
Yeah, I think they're in the same little cluster.
Yeah.
It will be very dwarfy in that section. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That is.
No, I think a lot of the coolest customs I've seen are dwarfs. I mean, I was talking to Mal probably on the show and off the show over the last while. There's been a few cosmic dwarf customs now that have been really, really good from different customizers.
I'm fighting the urge to
and because there isn't that many dwarfs in cosmic, I think that makes them even more like, oh, this is cool because you don't have much to compare them with in terms of the line itself,
Looking at my notes to make sure. Oh, I had one more thing. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So, other thing that'll be at the table. You can see them behind me. If you see the red Templar, the white Templar setup. So those are 3D printed backdrops. I actually have a dwarf one handy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, I like that.
That's amazing.
So it's basically like a giant keychain, right? Like that's really what it is. The way this works is when you put it in the printer, you put it this way, face down.
Yeah.
And it builds it. And the first 2 layers have all the designs. And then everything else doesn't.
Wow.
So you get to build.
And then you just paint over the...
Nope. No paint.
Oh, no. It's just a different color? Or
it prints this way. It's just 2 different colors of filament.
Brilliant.
So the machines I have can do up to 4 colors of filament. Well, technically up to 16, but the way I have them set up 4. So basically, it prints it. It comes pre-colored in. You don't got to paint it. I thought these would be kind of neat as I'm just trying it out, right? Like those will be super limited. Like think 2 or 3 per style, right? Like I don't know if people will like it. I'm not positive.
Yeah, it's tricky to.
People will.
We'll see. I don't know. We will see. I don't know, right? I hope they do. But I want to see Legions Con for me every year is always we always like to bring stuff to test it. Like, do they like it? Oh, okay, cool. They like it. Or sometimes you think they're gonna like something. And last year we brought these circle dwarf stands. I thought for sure at $10 they were gonna be gone. We'll be bringing them back this year and they'll be on clearance because they didn't do well. Right? Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah.
So
talk to me about it. Like it's even like our episodes. Sometimes they go, "Oh, that was such a brilliant episode." It's gonna, people are gonna love this, and it's like you get hardly any feedback. And then another episode, it's just kind of we didn't prep that much, and we just kind of did. And you're like, "Oh, that was okay. We got away with it." And it's like everyone's like, "Oh, that was so good," and you're like, "Okay, I'm never gonna figure this out."
So. Yeah, then that's the thing. So I've been doing these for my display. You can see it behind me. Obviously, the one Sons of the Red Star one will not be coming because that is a no. That is for Kris only. But the Templar ones, I'll have Templars in every single color.
Cool.
A couple. And then I've got some of my own designs. Like I did a custom one for Gadriel that's like angel wings and a sword. All that stuff will be there. And, we're talking like, that dwarf one will be like $20, $25. It's not like it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
That's what's coming. Cheap. I wish I could show you more Mythic Bit stuff. Only thing I had to show for those is we got a couple examples of the heads we'll have.
Yeah. Now, so who's your sculptors that you use, or
Tiago
varies
mainly?
Tiago. Yeah.
And then this head's a Jason head. He let us modify and put a pirate hat on.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So that's the Ansel dwarf pirate. There's a couple of those coming. This head. So did you guys play video games at all?
When I had time, I did.
I know who it is, or I think I know who it is. Doctor.
Who is it?
It is similar to Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman, as he used to be.
No, but that's a good guess. The Minds of Moria video game.
I've heard about that one. I haven't played that.
Has a character creator. So what I did was I went and made a few dwarfs, and I went to Tiago and said, "Hey, can you make me something inspired by this?"
Cool.
Because it's a character creator for dwarfs. Like,
that's very cool.
Through AI, this thing is cool. So I made a bunch of characters, and I said, "Hey, can you do something inspired by this?" Right? Not exactly, but do something inspired. So
it's awesome.
A lot of the new head offerings this year. We're bringing back a lot of old favorites. We went through what sold last year, what was good. We're going to reprint more of what was good. And then a lot of the new ones, this year, it is dwarf centric.
Awesome.
Like a lot of different dwarfs.
And there's still some, or there has been, I think the Dwarf Legion Builder possibly sold out now that was on Store Horseman.
Dwarf Legion Builder, I'm sure they'll have them there, but Dwarf Legion, we sold out. I think that Legion Builder sold out twice.
Yeah, I think so too.
The deluxe one sold out. Then they brought a couple hundred back, magically appeared in inventory. Those are gone again. I'm just saying, not saying that we sell a lot. I'm just saying there's plenty
of them out there.
Other fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Aren't buying enough stuff. I see them White Templars are still there.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of them, but I
think the vampires are almost gone too. That is
that's a great body. Yeah.
Speaking of Slice and Splice, so for those who don't know, you can totally cut up this vampire hat.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Put it on the wizards.
Oh
wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Wow.
You can totally
that's like Arazak or one of the Poxus wizards, basically.
That's Arazak. Yep.
Wow.
That's good. I didn't know how to pronounce his name till right now.
No problem. That's what we're here for. Awesome. So I think our favorite Welshman, Guion, not Rich, he was definitely a big fan. I remember talking to him about the Minds of Moria game that I must play it, but I think the last game I got a chance to play was probably God of War, the
love that
PS4.
Wow.
I wanted to play the second one, but it's just too much. I've just too much going on with the kids and the podcast, and so it was like kind of can't choose video games at this point in time. But it'll be there, in the future.
Always there for you when you need it.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Kris. So how about we get out of this interview with looking at some of your customs that you sent us over, and we can talk through a few of them. So these are all on your table for sale?
Yep. These are all on my table for sale. My customs range average between, so the lower ones will be 80, 100-ish. And then the middle is like 125 to 150. And then if you see something over 200, usually that means I would prefer to go home with it. Because like 200 is my top. The way I price my customs, usually I'm listening to an audiobook when I'm doing my customs.
Yeah.
I do this to relax. This brings my blood pressure down. Very healthy. So my time I don't really charge for. A lot of it is parts. What parts did I have to use to make this thing? Right?
Yeah.
The builder customs, I did those last year. I did the Templars last year. I think I was doing those for like $75.
Awesome.
One color. So this guy's in that lower scale.
Yeah.
A little bit of detail work. Flop out beard.
This is a dwarf. Are you still doing the beards with Mythic Bits, or do they?
Yeah, beards are coming. It's funny. Last year we weren't going to bring them.
Yeah.
Because we were like, all right, this fad has passed. The pet rock is over. We're good. And last year, it's like everyone restocks at Legions Con. I'll have people walk up. Hey, can I get like the beards? You can always buy them from us online. Yeah, I just restock at Legions Con. Okay. So we're going to bring them. We got two varieties, right? We got the clip-ons for the armored face. And then we got these, which peg in to the barbarian head and the dwarf head.
Oh, from the deluxe wave. Yeah.
Yep. And these, honestly, of the two products, the peg beards are better products. Like they're scaled better. Like the clip beards are awesome for what they were, but they were a little big, because
they're kind of bombastic. I like them though. I used them in one of my customs last year, and I thought it was cool. Yeah,
like I love this dwarf helmet.
Yeah, it really is. It really is cool.
Yeah.
Right, we got a couple of ladies here.
Yeah, so these are my twins. So this head is a not for sale head. It will not be for sale on the table.
Wow.
There,
is that one of the ones that you can get in the drawings then?
There'll be a couple. I have a couple leftover prints.
Yeah.
That will be, then these are the elf version. So there is a human version of this head that exists that was prototyped. It will not be in anything except someone else's table at Legion's Con in the First Alliance might have a custom or two with the human version of this head. Because these are two half.
I think I've seen it, and I think he's shown it.
You might have seen it. You might have seen it. So
yeah.
These are going to be sold as a pair. I don't want to split them up.
So
they're good.
So this is a kind of black skin toned head person, woman, I guess, with this really cool kind of almost kind of flip over long curly hair that just kind of flips over to one side.
Yep. And half elf ears. You can't see it from the picture, but they both they're half elves.
And how did is this some sort of a transfer? This thing on the this kind of symbol on the chest.
It's a permanent vinyl on the chest because I got lazy and didn't want to airbrush it. And so in case anyone's wondering,
I wouldn't say doing you have to do a vinyl design and print it. That's not really that lazy.
I designed it, printed it, cut it, laid it down. Also, in case anyone's wondering, so they don't feel like they're cheated, the body tone is not Bistette's original skin tone. I repainted the head to toe.
Oh, wow.
It's a head to toe repaint. It's a custom skin tone I mixed myself.
Awesome.
And there's a little cut work because you can't really have a Kris custom, and you can't have a premium custom from the Pharaoh's Forge without some cut work. The belt on the girl with the white hair, I believe, is from Alithia's headdress.
Ah,
that's
awesome.
The bird from Alithia's headdress.
Yeah.
Gotta have a little cut
little
work,
belt buckle, yeah.
The belt buckle is Alithia's headdress.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They're my favorite thing. These are, of the things I've done this year, they're in my top couple. Like, I really enjoyed this one.
There's not it's a smaller market, the female customs, I think, A, because it's difficult, and B, because I think there's probably less people just doing it, kind of they're more attracted to the 1.0 scale. It's just a thing.
Funny story real quick. My first year, I actually had a customer give feedback. They were at my table and I only had like one female custom.
Yeah.
And she said, I wish you had more girl customs. And I was like, and so last year I did more. And like this year, I'm like, that stuck with me. That just stuck with me. I'm like, man. So like, I think this year of the 40 I'm bringing, I think 10, so a full quarter are female customs.
Awesome. That's up in the quota, and it's good. But as I say, if you don't see many female customs at the different tables, half of it is not because it's female; it's because it's difficult, because it's smaller scale, and it's a bit more tricky. Now, here's another awesome female with it's with a load of skeleton heads coming out of the what looks like the weapons or the kind of wizard kind of effect pieces.
So this is my necromancer. The only difference with the one that'll be there, I've swapped those solid heads out for 2 blue clear Hagonon heads. I thought that looked way cool.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Those are the wizard spell effects. I heat gun those and I rewrapped them around her and cooled them.
Oh, that's a genius idea.
So they're completely wrapped. It's like they're meant to go that way now.
Yeah.
There's some glue on them. Getting the figure apart is going to be a really big pain in the butt. So hopefully whoever buys it doesn't try to take it apart. Zirian head from Cosmic, one of my favorite heads to paint. Looks super elf looking. Staff, another one cobbled together. That's a regular skeleton with the part on the top cut out so it can fit in the circle of the staff. That used to be the Basilia, the new Basilia staff we got. Favorite belt. Probably favorite new belts from the cosmic alien guy, the gray alien. That belt is awesome.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
I wish they would put it on some mythic figures. But she was fun build. Went really darker on the skin tone. So I thought that was like a cool, I don't know, necromancer. I just wanted to make a necromancer.
Yeah, it looks almost like there's almost like a bit of green in the skin tone.
A little bit, yeah. It mixed a little bit. It's the way when I matted it and then put another finish on it, it kind of gave that vibe to it. Plus, I think the green
effects also just kind of maybe brings it out. Yeah. cool. Next one. This is a dwarf with a cool beard. I guess this is one of your kind of more lower tier customs. Yeah, basic.
Yep, this is a basic custom.
So it's a cavern dwarf with a bit of paint work.
Little bit of paint, and whose beard? Who guys know whose beard that is?
That's Arzak, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's one of the beards off
blonde.
the Wizards. Yep, one of the beards off the Wizards. I transplanted that. Got it to fit on a peg to stick it up inside the helmet.
So even though Kris does beards as part of Mythic Bits, he's still slicing beards off figures.
Got to. It's a cool beard, man. Like
it is, yeah.
The best paint on this figure is probably, I should have taken a better picture. The shield is fully repainted. That dwarf.
Oh, awesome! So that's that dwarf shield that we would have got first with Bromden.
Yep.
So people know which one it is. Yeah.
Fully repainted shield. So this is one of those lower end, $80, $100. Like this is like
still an awesome custom. Yeah. I mean, this fire dude, cool. I love it. Red Death. You did I remember around the time of Red Death was out, and you did a good few customs with the Red Death parts, and I was like, whoa, yeah, I should have bought more Red Deaths, but it's I also had other things going on, so I just wouldn't have had the time. This is amazing.
This is my Pyromancer. But funny, I brought those Red Death customs last year to LegionsCon and didn't even get a second look at the table.
Wow.
They're all coming back this year because none of them really, I think it was such a new figure. Nobody really realized what was going on.
People didn't know. Yeah.
This one with the twins, one of my favorites. A lot of it is the fading is all hand painted, and some days you just get really lucky with paint, and it all works out. And I think I did a pretty good job on the fading of the fire effect. Like
it's
the fire.
Really nice, yeah. It's really good.
It is so it's not just Red Death pulled out. It's a head to toe repaint. The fire colors are painted inside of all of his skin openings.
Oh, brilliant.
It's painted on the inside for fire on those.
Oh, it's like he's smoldering, yeah.
Do you guys know where his horns are from?
Looks familiar, but no. So, and that's a Pox's head, is it?
Yeah, Pox's head.
No, don't know who that horn's from.
Believe those are from Novim Leem.
Oh.
The head, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the little mandible things are kind of... Is it?
Are they not?
I think so.
Is it not Thygar? Or like Thygar, is it not his bits that...
Oh, no, Thygar. No. You're right. Thygar.
Thygar, yeah. That's...
I don't do Cosmic, so I don't really know their names.
Okay.
I just use them for fodder. Ooh. Yeah, Thygar. So those are those are off the Thygar.
So, awesome. This is a Novian Lean head on a Thygar. So the Novian Lean head is painted to match the Thygar, and it's got these awesome horns coming out the side of the Novian Lean head.
Marvel Legends build a figure, King Thor or Odin, whichever one they called it, from way back in the day. I had that helmet. I ripped the horns off, and I thought I had to cover up the tech, and so I pulled the tech out of his face, made a little hole. I thought the horns gave it that aliens, like that kind of predator look.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of what I was going for.
Cool.
I thought this came out pretty cool too.
Yeah, absolutely superb. And what are the upper legs there? Are they some sort of?
Yeah, it's cloth pants. I can't remember.
It's cloth pants.
Yeah, okay. Cloth pants.
Okay, cool. Here's a bunch of customs. So you don't do Cosmic, but you still have buy Cosmic figures for customs. It looks like
I do. So this is my pirate crew from the Last Lucky. That's the name of their ship.
Okay.
The Cosmic guy is like, so I don't know if you guys ever played D&D back in the day.
No.
There was a setting called Spelljammer. It was about like going into space and stuff. I just thought it'd be cool to use a Cosmic custom. He's really nothing special. Like he's just some fur and some cloth kids. I don't really do anything to him. But
cool though.
I thought it was cool to have like an alien as the ship's mage. Pirates, obviously a lot of Marley parts with some McFarlane, Jack Sparrow parts thrown in there, or Diamond Select. One of those two. I think it's McFarlane, Jack Sparrow. That's a Bardric head.
I was going to say it looks like a Bardric head.
It's Bardric's head. The female is another female custom, which you can't see with her, which you'll see when you get there. I took the lower legs off of a McFarlane Wonder Woman. She's rocking. No, I'm sorry, not lower legs. The gauntlets are off McFarlane Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then the dwarf is, it's a dwarf. It's got Calavius' helmet with the thing taken off, and routed down and turned into more of a hat with a hook arm and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
So pretty cool. I just want to do a pirate crew. It was when Marley came out, I went pirate bananas.
Yeah.
I was like, everything has to be in the pirates.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what we need in Mythics anyway, is pirates.
Oh, this guy's
right.
cool.
Here's another guy with the Marley coat.
Marley coat. This is like a half dwarf, so he's a little taller than a dwarf, shorter than a human.
Oh, yeah. Monkey King lower legs there, looks like.
Monkey King lower legs.
Repainted. Everything repainted again.
Yep. The forearms are from, those are using, we actually make forearm blanks so you can slip on fodder. Those are from Crocmaster from G.I. Joe, classified.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Torgan head and the hat is from a WWE Sheamus figure.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah. Fits on Torgan.
Sheamus the Irishman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I wanted to make I was sitting there and I'm like, I really want to use this coat. How do I do it? So it's not the Marley blue, it's my own blue. But I like blue,
because
right?
it's not the translucent.
I don't paint blue. So I'm
I find the same. Yeah. My blues are probably one of my least used paints, and I try to use them a bit more.
So this one of I really enjoyed making this custom with the Monkey King legs. He's like a collector. He's obviously got a ring of keys and stuff like that. So
I love the ring. I love just the ring of keys hanging off the belt. Everyone kind of can relate to that as a type.
And that ring is from, I want to say, one of those import martial arts tiger figure. I think it's like his voice or something like that. Turned to a key ring. I know, right? I just pick random parts from stuff. But he's a fun figure. Cool. Love him.
Yeah.
This is left carryover from last year. So Gladiator using Red Death. Yeah. The thing with this figure, so those forearms slip on. Those are not. Those are slip over. So they slip over the Red Death.
Oh, so you drilled through the forearms, to get them.
Same thing with the lower legs. I cut the lower legs. I hollowed them out, and I took the old OG chest straps, and reformed the back of the leg using straps. So those are actually removable too. So underneath this is a fully painted Red Death body for an Undead Gladiator.
Brilliant.
Very cool.
Really nice. Next we have 2 more Red Death customs.
Yep.
Green and blue.
One's straight repaint. The other one is McFarlane Baraka's head on a Red Death, and then I used dye remover to change the color of the robe from red.
Oh, I remember you posting the dye removed coat.
Yeah, when Curtis sees this, he'll call it the PP robe.
Yeah, it is. You were kind of it was kind of a roll the dice, see what happens kind of thing, and this is what you got.
It's like choose your own adventure. I actually have a bunch of that stuff. I haven't had time to take a bunch of other soft goods.
Yeah,
and I really want to try it on Calazir's stuff. Because it should keep the vinyl stickers, but change the color. I really want to try it on Calazir stuff.
That'd be fun. Have you ever done anything with the clocks that come with Red Death?
I gave a bunch away last year.
Gotcha.
And so I think I put this picture on accident. I think this figure is gone.
Okay.
We could go past it. I don't think she's coming.
Dwarf.
And there we go. Yep, this dwarf. So this is my, I call her the Reforged. So Kris does not like Skinny Ragna. Does not. I do not like Skinny Ragna.
I love the character, but I think this is a better representation. I think this is.
So I wanted to make, when we did the female chest plates last year, my idea was, it was female dwarfs, right? Let's be honest, that was the main reason I did it, right? So when the first female custom I made, I was like, I gotta do Ragna. So I really studied the colors, wanted to get that sky tealish blue metallic. But she'll be at every Legion's Con until someone buys her. She's on one of those. I mean, she's priced like.
She's like, I don't really want to sell her price.
Yeah, she's like $225. She's not worth. Here's the thing, to be honest, it's a black painted figure. It is not worth $225, right? If you pay that, cool. But there are other customs on that table that are cheaper than her that you should definitely spend your money on. But she's one of my favorites, so she gets brought every year.
But it's what you like, I find
know
as well, Yeah, and actually, I guess that Dwarf 2-pack is probably your most anticipated thing coming. I mean, you're one of the characters in it, isn't that right?
I am. I got designated. I'm the bald guy with the beard. So
that's everyone at Legion's Con, you know.
It is.
Well, I'm the weirdo with no beard and a bit of hair.
Yep.
It's,
I was going to say
Jeremy let us choose. Jeremy kind of let us choose which builds were ours. So obviously they were when Kevin and Anthony looked at me, they were like, "Really? Come on, God, come on, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'll take the swarthy guy with the beard. It's fine." So yeah, when those parts, like, I've got a bunch of those on pre-order. Like, the Legion's Con following that 2-pack is going to be. I might go. I don't know if I'll have another thing but a dwarf on my table.
That's cool. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people. I mean, I definitely am looking forward to those parts as well as the figures themselves.
Think about the dwarf customizers. We have stretched these parts.
The Kings Under the Mountain is going to be crazy. I mean, and also for making Cosmic Dwarfs, those type of parts are much easier to integrate into Cosmic with a bit of a paint job or whatever.
Ant's going to love that for his Cosmic Minor crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
he might be swapping out a few.
That's it. It's mix and match with the Novian lean body, and you've got basically a dwarf Novian lean. So
that'd be really fun.
Costume, yeah,
absolutely.
That's gonna be really cool.
Right, we have a bear, a guy with a bear hat, and a wolf.
Yeah, so this is my most recent custom. I'm calling him my quarter frost giant. So brute scale. First time I did a brute scale custom. I repainted a Calazir. Marvel Legends donated a lot of parts to this custom. The shoulder pauldrons, the waist piece, that's all Marvel Legends. The head is a Marvel Legends scar, the new scar that came out. So this will be a pricey custom, but mainly just because of the parts I had to use. So I paid $50 for a scar just for that head.
Oh, okay,
So the head, right? I knew it. I was like, I need that head. The bear piece is from the Fresh Monkey Fiction Santa Claus.
That's where I recognize it from.
I just didn't want to be lazy, so I painted it brown instead of leaving it white. The wolf is obviously G.I. Joe Timber, repainted into a frost wolf. This will be officially the most expensive I've ever asked for a custom at Legion's Con. It'll be like $300 for the combo.
Wow.
So it's for me, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but that is a lot in general. I know that some people charge a lot. I understand, but you need to find that if you're going to sell it, it's going to be just someone that just flips for it.
It's got to be someone that's worth it. And listen, if he comes home with me, not going to be upset. Like, I will be very excited. And then it's got a fur. The fur cape is real. The cool thing with the fur cape, it's on another part we make. Jeremy used them this week for a custom. They're like blank shoulder blades. So you just glue stuff onto them or put fodder on them. So you can take the cape off. You don't got to fidget with it. It just unplugged from the back.
Brilliant. Cool. And there is people that are really into the frost figures. I know that for sure. I love them as well myself. So that is a thing. Right. A bit of lights going on here with a dwarf.
A little bit of lights. So this is a fairly basic dwarf. I won't say basic dwarf repaint. Everything is head to toe. It's head to toe repaint.
Yeah.
So the gold's all done. The gold's and all Army Painter gold. All the dots have been painted. Every single hammer stroke. And the custom pauldrons were a gift from Anthony Houseal. And I decided to install some lights in them so you can turn them on and off with magnets. Pop a magnet to it, turn the lights on.
Brilliant.
I thought it was pretty cool, like a dwarf paladin.
Yeah, that's so cool. And the head is from, that's a Mythic Bits beard, I recognize.
That is a Mythic Bits beard, yep. That's a Mythic Bits plug beard. And I am running low on those horns. I think that's my second to last pair of those horns. They have not released.
Go to Chris James's Pop and Swap.
I know. I am bringing so much Cosmic to that Pop and Swap.
Oh, Mal, Chris is your man. Mythic for Cosmic. Mal has already mentioned it. I need to find people that will swap Mythic for Cosmic. Well, there's the first on the list, Chris.
Guess what our days are going to be spent doing? I've got these if you want.
So that's that dwarf just in the den.
With a much better photo, obviously.
That's really nice, actually, yeah. The lights are cool, but this,
like I said, the gold head to toe, full airbrush job on the base coat.
Is that the new Army Painter gold?
Yeah, so Army Painters, I use almost exclusively Army
Did you
Painter
get the new Fanatic paints?
I've got a full
metal
set of
speed
Fanatic.
paints. They're supposed to be good.
They're not good. They're incredible.
Are they?
So the first dwarf you showed, the one that's got the shiny finish to him, that's out of the bottle, just hand painted.
Wow, awesome.
They hand or airbrush. They are worth every dollar.
Yeah, because I think the one that they compare closest to is the metal color from Vallejo. The ones in the bigger bottles.
I have Vallejo metal colors.
Yeah.
They're I would say they're better because they finish with a candy coat that's already got some durability built into it.
Yeah.
Versus the Vallejo where I still have to add that varnish to it.
That varnish.
I have found with the metal speed paints, you really don't need to add the varnish the same way.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's good because then you're not worried about the finish as such.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned before the metal color doesn't have a good gold, so you can already say here the
speed paint's got 3. Yeah. It's I would highly recommend them. So this is my Vampire Dwarf. Speaking of metal speed paint.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry Rich isn't here, but otherwise he would love that. But he's hiding from Anthony, so
I thought this was. I always want to make a Vampire Dwarf. When I figured out the helmet could be cut off, someone showed the vampire helmet with, I can't remember who, and I want to give them credit. Whoever you are that showed, you can pull the vampire. I don't know how I never thought about pulling the face out because that's usually my first thing, but never did it. Someone showed that months ago on the Cabal, and they deserve all the credit in the world, and I wish I wrote their name down, but they deserve credit. So
no problem. They know who they are.
I was like, oh crap. Well, what else can I do with this? So I cut the chin strap off, figured out it fits perfectly with the head pack bootleg Jordan head.
Oh, cool.
And it covers up that unsightly hole that's left by Jordan's helmet. So we did that, and then from there, I'm like, well, it's a vampire helmet. Let's take a Varg and make a vampire dwarf.
Superb. Yeah.
Very cool.
And Cavern Dwarf repainted.
Yeah, using McFarlane Batman's big old hunkin' barbarian Batman's bat belt.
Brilliant. It's cool, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be enjoying looking at the stuff on your table. So we got 2 more left. This is another awesome female sculpt, head sculpt build on an Artemis, it looks like to me. And
Artemis, I want to say I repainted the arms. I did repaint the arms because they matched the face. So the arms are repainted. The face is Thrace. The hair is from Marvel Legends She-Hulk, the new one that just came out.
Cool.
Looks really good.
Brilliant. It looks really good, yeah.
Yeah, she is. So I've already had someone is already trying to work like a pre-buy. Like I named this figure after my wife, so she's on the higher end. But he's like, I want so for the people listening. If you want to walk up to me with one of those red knights from the Armory experience that's got the exact build I'm looking for, which is the Templar build they showed in the box. We had to work out a store credit situation.
Nice. There you go.
Willing to take that until I got enough of those. Those could be used as currency. Just DM me before to find out. So,
nice. That's a good idea.
Another one. Feed build figures are hard to paint. Speed paints make them easier. This is fully speed paint. I had bought the Thor Destroyer pack because I'm going to dye the Destroyer red, the whole armor.
Wow.
So I ended up with a Thor with it. Thought the helmet was cool. Thrace again. Repainted the hair. I thought it'd be a cool avatar for like a Thor type custom. And just a cool way to repaint the female.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Thrace's hair is so good. So useful.
Yeah.
Just so useful.
It sure is. You got those magnifying glasses, Kris, for all those small details?
No. Yes, I have magnifying glasses. I paint most of stuff without them, unless I have to do eyes. I do my dots without it. Like painting for me, like the way I classify everything, right? I look at the community in tiers, right?
Yeah.
That's your new people, and then you got like your big giant middle class, and I feel like I'm in the middle class, and then you got like your Eric Millers, your Giovannis, meals that are just I like, the Sistine Chapel where like it's the perfect mural. They hit that almost every time, right? And some of the other guys hit it like I think I hit it once in a while where I'll hit something and I'll be like, damn, that was really good. But firmly in the middle class, right? I'm forgetting top tier painters. I know they're Bear Blaze.
There's loads. There's like
loads.
We can't name them all.
What I think makes Mythic Legions different than other customizing groups, we have a thriving middle class.
Yeah, I mean, and and people shouldn't feel bad about not being able to paint to like Eric, for example, or whatever. That's a lot of practice,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I got to display my customs next to Giovanni.
Yeah.
So
that's a tough station. Yeah,
it's a tough road. It's a tough road to hoe.
The only hope you have is that Giovanni normally doesn't have that many because there's such high quality.
He sells out
there
so fast.
Enough hours. He sells out, and there's not enough hours in the day to do that good of customs.
I agree
because they aren't done quickly. Well, Kris, this was an awesome chat.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in Legions Con in a couple of weeks' time. About 7 weeks' time, I suppose, around the time of this recording. 6 maybe by the time we release this.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you guys for having me. I really, really, really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you taking the time. It was superb. Cheers, Kris.
Yep. Stay safe out there.